Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 3.0. It's a beautiful day, beautiful evening, and we are here today to talk about DeFi, as the topic suggests, and DeFi, decentralized finance, and all this stuff. And for that, today I have brought upon a guest that is very much into this industry. He's a co founder of a very great company. And without further ado, I would just like to introduce you to Yuri. Hello, Yuri. How are you today?
Yeah, hey Arham, all great, great. And you?
I'm
Happy to
good.
be
I'm doing
here.
good. Pleasure is mine as well. So, Yuri, if you could introduce yourself to the audience, introduce about your company, what you do, what it does.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Yuri. So I've been building products at Google for 3 years. Then I went through Y Combinator, W21 batch with a company where we were doing live stream shopping app. And now I'm co-founder of Wallchain. And at Wallchain, we help decentralized exchanges get extra revenue from arbitrage and protect their users from MEV bots, just like from malicious bots.
Mm.
So far, we processed more than $1 billion transaction volume for our clients. Yeah, I can go in a bit more details how it works and what we do and why we exist and what are these like MEV bots.
Yeah, sure. But because everybody in the audience, they are familiar with the stuff, but MEV and terminologies like that, if you could explain them a little.
Yeah, sure. So first, let's consider the case where you want to swap like $10,000 of Ethereum. You go to one of the decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, QuickSwap, SushiSwap, or so on. You swap it, and then you realize, boom, $200 of that went to some random bot. Not the
Mm.
best experience, isn't it? And it
Yeah.
happens all over the place. It's on scale. More than 50% of transactions on these decentralized exchanges were completed by bots. So we protect decentralized exchanges from these bots and capture that extra revenue, that arbitrage for them. And we send like 80% of this arbitrage to the exchange, and we keep 20% for us. And now let's talk about like why and how it happens.
Yeah.
So firstly, what is MEV, minor or maximum extracted value? So you send the transaction to the blockchain. It firstly goes through the mempool, and there are validators who can reorder your transaction, who can place other transactions before your transaction or after it, and make profits on that. And when you swap tokens, you change balances in one place. Like you swap Ethereum for like USDC, and in some pair you change balance, and it locally affects the price. And after the price is affected, you can buy cheap at that place and sell high in some another place. And boom, arbitrage, instant arbitrage, and like bots make thousands of dollars in one transaction after someone is swapping some tokens. Yeah,
Okay.
this is not really pleasant for users and decentralized exchange owners who bring this like millions of dollars to random bots. We have a solution for that, and we bring this money back to the community and to the exchange operators.
Let's move forward with everything in the DeFi, right? So decentralized
Sure.
finance, decentralized finance. Everywhere we hear DeFi, it's a growing industry, and everyone right now is trying to pull out everything in with new tokens and new, you could say, protocols and stuff. So the word decentralized, the decentralization, the always has been touted as a most advanced feature in the fintech, right? But very few realize that it itself might be of the problem. This concept has kept the blockchain technology stalled for many years. How do you see this?
From one point of view, you can like say that it's stalled, but let's first of all agree that Bitcoin is dramatically more far along that we like many predicted it to be like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, blockchain decentralization has given like some sort of financial freedom and independence to many users, to many players, and many financial organizations, banks, and governments don't really benefit from that because like they have all the financial power, and they're like basically they have all the power in the world, like
Yeah.
governments and big financial organizations, and they don't like people getting this freedom, and all they can do is slow it down.
Mm.
That's what they have been doing for this many years, but they can't stop it. One great example here is like Bitcoin market cap. is like at the size of Meta, Visa, Mastercard. And would they want that to happen? No, they don't. Like a lot of funds has gone through from Web 2 to Web 3, and like for example, like decentralized exchange volume has grown 500 times for the last 3 years. And where did this money came from? It came from Web 2 financial platforms. Some random dudes copy paste Uniswap protocols or like some other protocols, create a Twitter account, they launch an exchange, they launch some other platform, and they generate millions.
Hmm.
They help the decentralized financial system to operate on billions level, and they like create utility for many users. And this is not done by some like centralized organizations who whose aim is just to profit from the users. It's like it's usually managed by some DAO, and it's really for the profit of the community.
It's really great that you pulled out a point like this, that the centralized thing, that the banks and the government don't want the people to have the power. But when it comes to decentralization and the previous events that we see that has happened, like if I talk about hacks and incidents like the Celsius, 3AC, BlockFi, so things like that have made people, a little less or back off from the trust of decentralization. What what do you think about that, or what could you tell us about that?
Yes, that's a great point. Like talking about Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi, Voyager. We can also add there like a Coinbase incident where like product manager was arrested for insider trading. Same goes to like OpenSea insider trading and cut-offs in many companies.
Hmm.
Uh, and if we ask ourselves what is common between all of these companies and these incidents, and the trigger of all of that is the centralization part of it. If those companies operate on blockchain, if they have conducted their business on chain, would we really have allowed it to go so far alone? I wouldn't think so. So they dumped their investors, and because investors were not able to transparently see what's happening inside. Like Three Arrows Capital founders, when investors ask them to show proof of funds, if they like can if they can operate, they just send them like a PDF over email, one letter PDF saying, yeah, we have the funds, like some PDF, and it turned out to be fake. It would be impossible on chain.
Yeah.
And that's again a great example of these organizations not wanted, like they don't want us to have this power. And like one of the series why it all happened because of companies like BlackRock and Citadel. I mean, there is no 100% proof of that, but it doesn't really matter. It definitely happened because of some centralized organization dumped Bitcoin and Luna and Terra,
Mm.
which caused like the first
Deeping.
like trigger of DPEG, of people panicking, it depegging more and more, Bitcoin going down. That was like the first trigger, and this is because of some huge financial organization dumping uh, on regular users, on regular like financial investors. That's again uh, one problem of centralization. And all other companies who were dumped, who were collapsed, like Celsius, Shares Capital, and others, they are all operated in centralized manner. You can see like our other like decentralized protocols which still operate as they do. Like our still lands, DAI is still stable. Like all of the decentralized protocols have done exactly what they were built to do. They still bring yield, and Luna made its founder rich and famous. It's
Yeah.
what it was intended for.
So, moving forward, we have seen that DeFi has, it has thrived, right? It's a booming market and it's gaining a lot of capital. So the thing is that how I see it, or many users, or you could say complainers, say that there are no rules and regulations that help or
Mhm.
give protection to the investment of a particular person. Like if a hack happens, and the person has a very low person has invested, let's say about $5,000, right? and now the hack has gone, and depegging and stuff, whatever also happens, his investment is gone, and there is no rule that he would be reimbursed or if his investment would come back or not. If we talk about the centralized part in CFI, or I say CFI, there might be some rules that the investment that the people do, they come back from the government or any centralized party, right? So how do you see this? How what kind of mindset would you like those people to have when going for an investment in such in this industry?
Okay, yeah, sure. So the first rule always is, if you don't have control over your private keys, then you don't actually own your crypto. Yeah, I think that's a great question. And like right now, the decentralized finance is Wild West. Like no one, like it's a trustless environment. No one trusts each other, and it's built the way that you don't have to trust someone. It's all done through some smart contracts. Uh, that's kind of a problem,
Hmm.
and there is a next level to it. The next level is called decentralized society, where users will have their kind of credit score, their history on chain, and also on chain authentication, where you put your identity on chain. If you do something bad, if you dump your credit score, you cannot just create another wallet, go to the same platform. They will detect that it's the same human.
Okay,
So,
that's
so
interesting.
this way, we will be able to build more human relationship in DeFi space. And when we have that, we will be able to think about some reimbursements. So why reimbursements are done in the first place is to create trust between platform and the user. So we will reimburse you if something goes bad, and users trust more. They eliminate that fear, and platforms can provide better services for users with better credit scores, and it also like eliminate some kind of fear for platforms for providing services for some bad actors and bots. And when we have this decentralized society, like Buterin recently published a paper about that, there will be some like soul-bound token, and we will find our souls on chain. When we will have that trust, social trust on chain, it will change the game dramatically. We
Hmm.
would be able to have real like human relationship and human trust on chain. We'll be able to like provide under collateralized lending, um, reimbursements, and like many other features that we see in real world in Web2 financials. It will all come to on chain, and it will dramatically change the game.
So is Wallchain planning to create this decentralized society?
Yeah, we have plans to create the identity gating solution, where like, so overall the goal of Wallchain to become like a number one hub in
Hmm.
arbitrage and user protection on protocol and application levels, empowered by AI. We have some AI part involved in it, and we're going to expand on it more. So we're building a solution for DeFi platforms to protect their users and validate their users. We will analyze all of the actions the user has completed on chain, and we also will try to attach their on chain activity to like Web2 activity and build some kind of credit score for that. So platforms would see how much they can trust the user,
Hmm.
what they have done on any other chains, and if they have done like not bad but some good thing, and in some specific like vertical, they would be able to recommend something more specific, more personalized to that user. And also, like we were talking about this authentication, uh, there is also this approach where users can put their identity on chain, and like it requires like three things, like your documents, face ID recognition, and like your previous registration with an NFT. uh, and it's like you give it on chain, but you still keep yourself anonymous. So no one knows who is it, but platforms can detect that one human can enter the platform only once. You can create like 100 accounts, 100 wallets on different change, but on different chain, but every time you'll be the same, identified as the same human. There is also a slightly different approach, which is done by Sam Altman from Y
Mm.
Combinator. Their company is called WorldCoin. I think it's like relevant to mention here. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but that's kind of crazy idea. They have this like a metal like ball or sphere, and they go to many places, many countries, and
Mm.
you need to take a look on it. They scan your eye,
Mm.
and they give you coins based on that, and you can get it only
Okay.
once. So it's a hardware device. Hardware
Okay.
device. You look at it. It scans your eye. You get your coins once, and like now you're identified as a human on chain with some amount of tokens, and there is some amount of tokens pre-allocated for every user. Like imagine if there would be some amount of Bitcoin pre-allocated for every user. How many new people would want to join the Bitcoin network, get their like small part of Bitcoin, like the number of token holders would increase dramatically. Like that's their
Yeah.
approach. There is something into it. I believe like we'll see. The approach is kind of crazy because they plan to go like in big cities, go to
Mm.
the underground stations and like scan all of the people and onboard them like in some like highly popular places. It's like looks like some like uh, uh, punk metaverse. I don't know.
So yeah, innovation everywhere we see that people are coming up with things, and people are thinking about the future 10 years ahead, 5 years ahead. And the ecosystem of DeFi or Web3 in general is very, it's in an early stage, it's in an infant stage, right?
Yeah.
So if when something comes out, when a new innovation comes out, a new company comes out, a new token comes out, there's often a bubble, right?
Mhm.
And there's a hype before even the launching of that product or token or whatever you could say. So considering everything like that, and DeFi being in a very early stage, it's right now being tested, it's in experimental phase, and people are adopting to it very quickly, very very quickly. Where do you think that DeFi is standing? Is it on the right path that a community, how the DeFi community sees it to be?
Yeah, of course it's in the right place, and like we're seeing like a very small portion of it. Like it will evolve and be developed in the next year like dramatically. We don't see like killer use cases for now. Like it's
Mm.
mostly used for some trading and like purely financial operations. I'm like talking right now more about Web3. Like DeFi is like financial operations, but talking about Web3, I believe it will also dramatically change in the next few years once some killer features arrive. For example, imagine someone get into a car accident
Mm.
and they receive their insurance payment in 10 minutes after the damage. It could all happen in the combination of Web3 and some other technologies like AI and like Internet of Things. And it's a matter of time when it comes. And talking about Web3, the co-ownership part is also huge. People feel like that they need it, and people feel like they are dumped by huge companies like taking Uber. They make it like ton of money, and all of these benefits are taken more like most of these benefits are by like C-level executives and like founders. But some of the Uber drivers have to sleep in their car in San Francisco or New York because they can't afford a proper living, and like they're continuously driving their cars. And some early Uber drivers were critically contributors to Uber. If it were Web3, they would get some part of co-ownership, like a tiny fraction, but it would still make their life easier. Some contributors to the products struggle, but these contributors make its C-level executives earn millions and billions. It doesn't sound fair, in some way, and people want to change it, and that's where Web3 comes.
That's a fair point. So, a question that comes in my mind, or I don't know if anybody else has that, that when in the end, if we are seeing decentralized finance, and in the end, I see that the governance token holders, particularly in DeFi protocol, they usually it's a group, and they usually hold the power to, if the decision that is being discussed is to be made or not, even if
Mhm.
many disagrees on that. If the governance token holders, the percentage holders, they say that yes, we want this to happen, it happens. So isn't, you could say that, uh, could call that centralization in the end.
Yeah, there is some like centralization portion in decentralized organizations
Hmm.
and in decentralized autonomous organizations, those, but it's still much better than other fully centralized, fully like self-oriented companies that had collapsed previously. If they operated this way, we haven't been we wouldn't have seen that collapses, or that collapses wouldn't be that big, and investors wouldn't be that dumped. So sure, there is some part of centralization, and I wouldn't say it's that bad. Like uh, the product, the system shouldn't have all features at once.
Hmm.
Most of it is decentralized, and there is some like centralized governance. Like it's fine, and maybe not all of the protocols would go fully decentralized in the future. Some of them would be, and like we are moving in that direction. And now we are at that stage where we have like some part of centralization. Um, and it's like it's not everywhere. Like Ethereum is fully decentralized. There is no some like governance who can like shut it down or make something else with that. Some application level protocols that provide utility on chain, they're governed by some centralized entity, but still, users have much more power there than they have in other centralized entities. They can still vote, they can still like sell the tokens
Hmm.
and affect the project. And one more reason for that is we are not ready to go fully decentralized with many projects, because
Yeah.
when we go fully decentralized, it doesn't mean that it will be great and everyone will benefit from that. Like last week there was a hack of the like Odys project, which is like Spotify on Web3. They
Yeah.
were hacked on 6 million because of some malicious proposal went through governance committee.
Yeah.
And it was like they were hacked in decentralized manner. So we still need to evolve through it. We need to learn on these hacks, learn how to prevent it, and when we go fully decentralized, it should be way more advanced.
Okay, that's great. So, Yuri, thank you for all of this. For in the end, I would just like to say, that if you being in a very great space, you worked in Google, you worked in Meta, and you are a alumni of the Y Combinator. So, the mindset behind coming into this industry, starting a company, starting a community, working in Orange DAO, as I saw on your profile. And by the way, guys, if anyone wants to check out his profile, it's in the description box below. So,
Yeah,
if you
happy to
could,
connect to everyone.
yeah. So, if you could give our people the mindset, the thing you thought of coming into the industry, and how, a person should think that, how if he or she wants to start something in this industry.
Okay, sure. So it all started when I was working in Google, and I always know that sometime I will move on to do some startups, to do some like independent stuff, so something that I can bring more impact.
Hmm.
I was thinking to myself, if not now, then when? And also at Facebook, there were posters on the wall. I remember uh, it was saying, if you would not fear, what would you do?
That's a great quote.
And that's like just eliminate fear. Just try to imagine that you don't you're okay with that. You have not fear here. Just do what you want to do. And if you lose, fine. If you're afraid to lose, you're already lost. Just take it and move on.
Okay, so you that this quote could also act as a, advice for the people who are listening to the podcast.
Yeah, like I've launched like up to 10 projects that failed, and it's fine to me.
Yeah, of course. If the failure that you face is, makes you learn what you need to do next. You should never stop.
Yeah,
I have tried podcasts before. I was not the host, but I initiated those, and there were many mistakes. And in the end, I came up with 3.0 again. I've started it again, and here I am today, moving forward
yeah.
with it.
If someone from the audience is thinking or working on some project and they want to get some early feedback, they want to get some fundings and apply to Orange DAO, feel free to drop me a message on Twitter. I'll be happy to chat with you, provide you some feedback, and maybe help you to move to your next steps and uh, help you with applying to Orange DAO.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Yuri. So, Yuri, thank you so much for being here today. It was really fun. Your energy was fantastic, and the way you answered the questions and cleared my mind. And I hope the listeners had fun as well. It was really awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank
man.
you, Hub. Happy to be hosted at Blockship. Yeah, take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, man. Take care. Bye bye.